Hi, my name's Terry Crawford. I'm the golf course manager at Clandeboye Golf Club. It's a 36-hole parkland course in Bangor in County Down. Today we're going to talk a little bit about aeration on our golf greens. It's called a Dryject. It actually forces water into the root zone through our irrigation system through the Dryject machine, which you'll see later on. We use pure sand, washed sand, because we try to use the best quality of sand to go through the machine because it has to go through little fine jets. What we do first, we Verti drain the greens with a machine called a Verti drainer. And it has 12mm tines and that goes down to a depth of 9 to 10 inches with a slight heave, not a lot of heave, slight heave. The heave actually on the Verti drainer, actually when the tines go down, it actually throws a kick at the bottom and fragments the root zone a lot underneath, so you don't really see what the machine's doing on the surface, but it's doing a lot of work, creating a lot of fractures underneath the soil for the roots to move through. We were just trying to talk about a little bit about the reason why we use high quality sand and a lot of sand, a volume of sand. What we're trying to achieve here on the golf greens is put a minimum of 30 to 40 tonne of sand on these hectare of greens. The reason why I've introduced this Dryject to Northern Ireland, and I'm the first to use it, because I want to get the sand into the root zone. Yes, spreading on the top definitely helps to level the surfaces, and I feel with this machine it puts the sand in where you require it. It helps puts columns of sand in at probably about 6mm, maybe 8mm width, down to 6 to 8 inches of high quality sand. So that's the reason why I'm using this machine on these golf greens at the moment.
Hi, my name is Ken Seams. I'm a former golf course manager. I've been in the business now for over 45 years. Started on a golf course when I was 15 in Toronto. Worked all over the world now. I've worked in Canada, United States. I've worked in Dubai, China, Russia, and Scotland, which is home. So Dryject is a company based out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania in the United States. And they've been in business for over, I believe over 14 years now. And the principle of the machine is very simple. It injects water, basically a liquid solid time, and then sand follows in from the vacuum created by the water, and it gets pulled in behind the water blast. So I'll just show you through the machine. The sand flows down through these tubes. These are the water injector manifold here. Water gets blasted down and then the sand gets pulled in behind the machine. Over on this side here, this is basically a giant power washer. That you could probably find this motor on most big industrial type power washing machines. And it forces the water down. I've got 16 injectors, and that's pretty much how this area here, this is where the sand goes in.
I just want to talk a little bit about the sand. As you can see, we're down on our 5th green. It's a par 3. We're just using the Dryject at the moment. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the sand and the name of the sand and the quality of the sand and the reason why we use this sand. This is an HS Masters. It's actually a pit sand, and it has been washed and screened twice. A double wash because we wanted to get as much silt out of the sand as we possibly can. If you use the wrong sand in your lawn or a golf green with too much silt in it, the silt then washes off and actually builds up a sediment which seals any pore spacing that you might have. So if somebody tries to sell you some cheap sand, really, first of all, rub it in your hands. And when you rub it in your hands, See how dirty your hands are. If your hands are very dirty, you know there's a lot of silt on it. Don't use it on your lawns or your garden. Yeah, I just want to try to talk a little bit about the two procedures, a lawn care procedure and a maintenance procedure on golf greens. They're actually carried out the same procedure as hollow tining or solid tining or Verti drain. These are all things that relieve compaction in your lawns, relieve compaction on a golf green. We would have thousands and thousands of people over these golf greens. Everybody starts off on a tee, then move out to a fairway, but everything finishes off inside a 6 feet radius around the golf hole to finish out when they put out. In your garden you wouldn't have that sort of foot traffic at any time or heavy machinery on that. But so a lot of people ask me, do you apply sand onto your garden? There is times you might do that if you want to try to fix the soil texture, maybe try to add a little bit of sand if you had clay soil. But really on a golf green, sand is only put in for drainage purposes. Yes, it holds open the soil beneath, because sand, there's nothing in sand. That's why we would use other products like seaweed products, soil conditioners. Again, we don't want to mix up too much between one comparison and another. They both need sand at certain times. If your lawn was very wet, you might introduce sand to dry it out, but try to broadcast a lot of sand over your lawn to try to improve it. It's not going to really do any good. Again, we're on our 13th green down here. I would like to explain, we did a video this time last year regarding grading on the greens. The grading was a completely different technique than what we're trying to do now. The reason why we're doing this dry jetting on these greens, because we've got irrigation on our Dufferin course. We've no irrigation on our Ava course, and that's why we do the grading. Irrigation means we have a pipe system from our pop-up heads to the machine, which brings the pressure of water to the machine. But on the Ava course we haven't got any water supply at all. So that's the reason why we do grading. Grading is heavy duty scarification. And then we would seed into that, we clean that out, blow it and clean it out, and then we'd seed into that, and then we'd do a top dressing on top of that. Again, we would do Verti draining prior to that. So we'd Verti drain, deep scarifying, which was called grading, sanding, seeding, a light fertilizer application, and then we just roll it all in, and that's the job done on our Ava course.
If you explain what Verti cutting is, if you explain what scarifying is, and then grading for the viewers there. Right.
Verti cutting is just it's a vertical blades that just cut any lateral growth, horizontal growth moving across. That just keeps your grass standing upright. Scarification is a deeper scarifying just below the surface, removing any dead grass, roots, any dirt or leaves, anything at all has blown onto your greens and built up over the season. Grading then is down to, well, we can go down to 18 to 20 mil. Some people go down to 25 mil, but I prefer just to go, our problem is in our greens 18 to 20. So we do an 18 to 20 mil with a 3 mil tine. And it's a power takeoff. It's ran with a small tractor on a hydraulics end, PTO driven. It's a great machine for the job, but as I say, there's Verti cutting, scarifying and grading, 3 different things for 3 different procedures, but you need them all to make sure you can get the greens and your lawns in good condition. 13th green in the Dufferin. We're just matting in the sand now. You can see with a bit of excess sand on the top. That's actually quite good for us now, because we also Verti drained, and the excess sand now will go into the Verti drain holes. But once the sand has been matted in, with Philip here, my assistant, we'll then just give the greens then a roll, and that'll be opened then immediately tomorrow for play. This is just one application of top dressing now, and it has really filled in the holes very, very well. Golfers could come out now immediately and really put over that without any problem, and they'd be happy with that. Normally, if you were doing a hollow tining process on golf greens, you would be probably looking for at least a week, if not 2 weeks of recovery. This is just recovery in the next probably 3 or 4 days, and we're back into good greens again for the membership. What we get out of it outweighs the expense. Return to golf very quickly. Sand below the top surface in the root zone where we require it, and just as quickness of play into return to golf.